WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often reviewing rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have a Tullibardine, as you can see, also part of the Murray collection and also part of the classic Marquess bottling line, let's call it that. We have here a very interesting wine finish, Châteauneuf-du-Pape. So it's a region in France, southwest. 15,720 bottles of this will be delivered worldwide. And we have 46%. We have Whiskybase number 252848. And over here in Germany, I'm paying a price of €74.90. This is a vintage. It's very, very small, but it does say 2008 on here. So every single bit of whiskey in here was produced in the year 2008, and it was all bottled in 2024. That means this is a minimum of 15 years. Wow. 15-year-old, 46%. Châteauneuf-du-Pape, a wine, French wine, finished. And on the back here, it actually says, so these boxes were all created just for this one bottling. So from our stills to barrels to bottle, this classic Tullibardine that was initially filled into bourbon barrels before being recasks into Châteauneuf-du-Pape red wine cask for an additional 3-year maturation. Okay. So we have 3 years. So 2024 minus 3 would be 2021. So in the middle of the pandemic, 2021, I know we don't like thinking about this, but so 3 years ago, this 2021, this was filled into red wine casks from the Châteauneuf-du-Pape region of France. Now, Tullibardine is a very interesting distillery, belonged to White & Mackay for quite some years. They mothballed it in the middle of the crisis 1980s. So 1980s was the bust, the bubble burst, and a lot of big distilleries were mothballed, including Tullibardine. Then a consortium of people got together, bought the distillery in the year 2003. So it was closed from 1994 to 2003. And then we have in the year 2011, a new company bought it, Picard, which is today called Terroirs Distillers. And they invested a lot into the visitor center, a vatting hall, a small cooperage, a bottling line. What else do they put in there here? They have the brand Highland Queen, which is a blended, so they needed some type of malt. They also have the Muirhead's blended Scotch brand. And so by buying Tullibardine in 2011, it was a perfect solution because they could get their hands on grain. So this is a French company here. All right, so they built the visitor center, the bottling line, the vatting hall, more warehouses, I forgot about that, and even a small cooperage for repairing casks. And if you're ever going anywhere between Stirling and Perth, there on the A9, that's a great place to stop off and take a little visit. What am I going to compare it with? I have over here from Edredauer, also €74.90, a 12-year-old, and it says here, matured in a Burgundy casks, Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, March 2011 up to December 2023. So this is Whiskybase number 244729. This is a little bit of what's left for me here, the heels, and I'm going to do this. Compare the two of these. Now, to be 100% perfectly honest, I say of 10 different wine finished single malt scotches that I drink, 2 are acceptable. 1 is going to be my favorite. So why did I buy this bottle of Tullibardine when it's a wine finish? It's the Murray. I've never been disappointed yet by the Murray. Every single bottle, I think there's like, of the Murray Mesquite, there's like 12 different versions already. I've had 3, and they've all been excellent. Everyone keeps on ranting and raving about how good they are. I can't go wrong. Or can I? So let's first of all observe the color. Now this is darker than this. This is a full maturation, 12 years in Burgundy cask. This is a 3-year-old finish. So we have fresh. Did he use the word fresh bourbon casks? Nope, just bourbon barrel. So it could be fresh. It could be first fill, second fill, third fill bourbon, and then 3 years in the red wine casks here from France. Now on the nose, the first thing I get is sulfur. Now, I've said this every single time I've smelled sulfur. There's a wine cask, you buy it, you ship it over to Scotland, and the problem is a bourbon cask, you have 62.5% ABV whiskey in there, and it doesn't spoil, it doesn't go bad. You put a 12% wine into a cask and you empty the cask out, the cask goes bad. It turns on you. It turns into like a vinegar type of sour yuckiness. And you'll probably never get that flavor, aroma, that aroma profile out of the cask unless you scrape it out, you rechar, you maybe have to retoast before that, and then you can use the cask. This, they put a sulfur candle in there, put the bung on the bunghole, send it over from France up to Scotland, probably in the summer, maybe even during a warm time of the year, and then see what we have. We have sulfur in our whiskey. The whiskey extracts elements, aromas, flavors out of the wood, and unfortunately there's sulfur flavor in the char of the cask. And where does it go? Into my glass. And I am seriously disappointed. Seriously. They do have a few tasting notes on here. I'm going to try it. I'll give you my own notes, but I taste sulfur, sulfur, and sulfur. So if you're in the world someplace and you're sulfur sensitive like I am, avoid this Marquess Collection with the Châteauneuf-du-Pape. It's not for you. It says here, creates a richly satisfying dram. Anticipate an abundance of ripe autumn fruits, blackberries, black currants, and plums. A subtle spice permeates the fruity cocktail, maturing on the palate for an equally fresh and creamy finish. Most of what's written on the bottle I don't get. Imagine you had this wonderful dish. I don't care what it was. Just let's say you have a wonderful chili and you burn the chili. And you can't get that burnt flavor out of that chili now, can you? Everything you taste of the chili is burnt. Even though the chili itself is not burnt, but it permeates the entire flavor. That's what it's like for me when I have sulfur. Sulfur permeates and actually just covers over all the other flavors more or less. It becomes the dominant primary flavor profile. So, cheers. Wow. Sulfur, sulfur, sulfur. Now there's good sulfur, good Cagalachy from the pot still, from the grain. That sulfur is wonderful. At least I have the opinion often it's good. The sulfur that comes from the wine cask, the sulfur that comes from that sulfur candle being put in those casks, it could be a port cask, it could be a sherry cask, it could be a wine cask. Almost never, luckily, a bourbon cask. But that is something that I just do not like. And that's this flavor that I have here. So what's really interesting is I go over here. I do get a tiny little bit of black currants. I do get a little bit of plum. I do get a little bit of blackberries. The wine flavor influence is not subtle, but strong with this. If you like that and you're blind to the sulfur, this might be a fabulous, fabulous whiskey for you. Teeling did a Pinot Noir. I couldn't drink it. It had so much sulfur influence. It was just disgusting for me. Other people tried it and was like, this is fantastic. I love it. It's like, don't you taste the sulfur? What sulfur? Okay. We have different abilities to able to identify different, there's a threshold level for different people for different things. Just one little example just happened to me this morning. Okay, I have my studio here. I have my office there. We have the dining room there. We have the living room there. We have the hallway, and behind the hallway is my wife's the bathroom, our master bathroom, where she puts on perfume. And literally this morning, I walked out. I said, "You have a different perfume." And she said, "Why? How do you know?" "Yes." And I said, "Because I smell it all the way in my office." And she just looked at me and said, "That's not possible." I said, "Yes." I started sneezing. My nose started, I have allergies, so my nose just clogged up. And we're literally 20 feet, 30 feet away from each other, maybe even more, all right? And it just drifted on over through closed doors, literally, and I could smell it. Other people would never have smelled it. There are certain thresholds that I apparently am much more susceptible to in things than other people are. So, excuse me for being ultra sulfur sensitive. This, the Edgeladella, has so much more thickness, so much more viscosity. I would have loved to have seen someplace on here that said non-chilled filtered. I don't find a thing. Neither on the bottle nor on the box does it say, oh, wow. I'm blind. Here, non-chilled filtered. I'm blind. Does it say on the front of the box? Yes, it does. All right, non-chilled filtered. Does it anywhere say natural color? But this is so much thicker. This is so much more of a viscosity there. This feels thin. The tasting profile is different than the viscosity in the mouthfeel. This is so much better. It's still not my wheelhouse. As I said, 2 of 10 whiskeys I like, 1 I might really like. With wine finishes, everything else is usually a bust for me. All right, my question of the day. I've rambled on here, I'm sorry. From Tullibardine, what products do you really like? Every single other Murray I've ever had has been good. This one not. Well, the triple port I don't think I was really a big fan of that either, was I? Uh-oh. So most Murrays, especially the bourbon matured products, are fabulous. So, what is your favorite Tullibardine? Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, telling others, and I hope my next whiskey video will be more concise. Bye-bye.